Hey guys, so glad you're back. Again, we are working on creating a classroom of belonging this month. And today we're going to talk about celebrating your students' diversity because God has created us all uniquely with unique gifts and traditions and families. And we're a melting pot. Like we've come from all different places. And so we want to celebrate that because when you celebrate your students' uniqueness, everyone feels accepted. And when everyone feels accepted in your class, they desire to learn even more. So today we're going to talk about some ways that you can celebrate your students' diversity. Before we do that, please hit that subscribe button, share this episode or any of the episodes on this podcast. I would really appreciate your continued support. And also, if you have not gotten a student behavior journal, they are for sale on Amazon, and the Amazon link is in the show notes. So check that out and order yours today so that you are ready to give it to your students who struggle with behavior so that you can help create that positive behavior change for them. Welcome to Behavior Strategies for Class. I am Diane Bachman, your behavior paraprofessional with over 15 years of experience working in special education. And I'm so glad you're here because I'll be teaching you about social-emotional learning, behavior strategies, trauma-informed care, and more. So if you are tired of being frustrated and not knowing what to do with your students who have challenging and disruptive behavior, you're in the right place. Now, if you're ready to become more equipped to help your students learn and grow, let's listen in to today's episode. So, celebrating your students' diversity. In my experience, I have seen some teachers do it differently. One way some teachers have done it where they have a luncheon. So students will bring in their traditional food. So, for example, Italian, they'll bring in some delicious pasta, or Mexican, they'll bring in some enchiladas, Japanese, maybe some sushi. Even if students from France, maybe they have some delicious, flavorful cheese they want to share. Or from China, they'll bring in dumplings. Whatever it is, their traditional family foods, bringing it in and having enough for other students to try. Because, some students are not going to have that opportunity. They don't go out to dinner a lot, or they don't go, to ethnic places. We all get used to our normal, regular restaurants, and we don't always venture outside of our culture, and just not really on purpose, just because we're comfortable, so we go to what we're used to. But being able to share in that way with a luncheon, and then the kids get to share like, okay, well, this is dumplings and my grandma has made these forever, or whatever it is, it just gets them sharing their culture. And for students to see how we are all different, and yet we can all be together and getting along. And another way I've seen teachers celebrate this is by weekly sharing. And so students will have the opportunity to bring in maybe a special piece of their clothing that they have, that they wear, that is traditional in their family. Sometimes it's just an ornament or some type of toy that is special to their culture. So these are a couple unique ways that I have seen teachers celebrate their students' diversity, and the students love it. Like they love being able to share that way. And so I want to give you 6 examples of how you can show and celebrate your students' diversity in your classroom this year. And so number 1 is kind of what I was saying, is a show and tell weekly. And if you can't do it weekly, maybe it's once a month, or maybe you have it's a special time at recess, whatever it is that works for your class. But being able to have students come in and share about their culture, their family traditions is a great opportunity that teaches them how to speak or gives them that opportunity to speak in front of people, which I know is not everybody's favorite. And then just share about themselves, because kids get excited when we ask them about themselves and when they can share stuff that they already know, and they just love that attention. And kids love to ask questions because, they really are curious. And so that is a great opportunity. Number 2 is having that calendar that has cultural holidays, like Yom Kippur or Hanukkah or the the Chinese New Year, and different other holidays, cultural holidays throughout the year. And you could do, you don't have to do a big production for those holidays, but just acknowledging it and then just asking if anybody actually has celebrated that holiday at any time, in their life. So they may not, celebrate that holiday here, but maybe when they lived at home in a different place that they celebrated that. So that's just a little way, and it doesn't have to be a big production, but just acknowledging that, hey, this holiday is today. Has anybody ever celebrated it before? How can you just acknowledge that? And then number 3, using cultural music in class. I have seen a lot of teachers use mellow music in the class, like if they're working on a writing assignment, or sometimes it's heads down, quiet time. They have quiet music in the background. Other times, maybe it's when they're reading. It's usually, of course, when they're doing like one-on-one work or teamwork together that I have seen teachers turn on music. And maybe you just kind of mix it up and have a different type of music at certain times. And that's just another opportunity to celebrate diversity. Number 4 would be using those or making cultural projects. And I know you guys go through your different units in social studies, and, you'll go through the mining and all kinds of things. My mind is like crazy today. Anyways, I know you go through units of different cultures as you're learning and going through social studies, but maybe even before that, are there other holidays or somewhere else that you could tie into your lesson and make into a project about that culture, whatever you are working on at that time? Just giving them the opportunity, again, to learn from different kids in your class. Number 5 is having that multicultural library in your classroom. I have seen a lot of teachers have that, and I know you guys have your own little library in your class, and just having a bunch of different varieties of different cultures of books in your room is super helpful as well. And then number 6, I have seen a couple classrooms do this where they invite family members to come in and share some of the family traditions. And again, it doesn't have to be, a huge deal, but I know parents enjoy being involved too when they are able to, and coming in and maybe reading a book about their culture and sharing that with your class. And, that gives everybody opportunity as much as possible, because, we all know that not all parents can take off from work or, get a babysitter for younger siblings and all of that thing. But if you are able to have some family members come in and share, I think that is super exciting too, because students, of course, always love seeing their parents come to school and seeing what they're learning in their class. So again, these are 6 ways that you can celebrate your students' diversity. Number 1, having a show and tell, whether it's weekly, monthly, maybe it's with a unit that you're going through, giving them that opportunity to share about their family and their culture. And number 2 is just having a calendar that has cultural holidays on there. and just acknowledging like, hey guys, today is whatever. And again, has anybody ever celebrated this before? And then you just move on. Like, these thankfully are little things that you can do that don't take a huge amount of time out of your schedule already. And number 3 is using that cultural music. So just kind of mixing it up to the music that you're already playing. Have some other type of music that you could play as well. Number 4, having those cultural projects. Number 5, having that multicultural library in your classroom so students can pick and choose and learn about other cultures and traditions as well. And then number 6, if you are able to have family members come in and share their family traditions and their family culture, is another way to celebrate your students' diversity. So I hope these help. Again, I feel like these are pretty easy to kind of intertwine with your schedule already. And I know you want to help your students feel like they belong in your class and that you celebrate them. And they know that they can share their family, their traditions with your class and encourage them to continue to learn and be curious about their neighbors, their other peers, and where they come from and what their traditions are. Because we want to create that unity in your classroom. And we want to acknowledge all of us are made differently. All of us are created with great talents and skills, but we are also learning. And God has given us that ability to learn and encourage each other. So I want to leave you with this quote from Malcolm Forbes. Diversity is the art of thinking independently together. I love that one because we are all very different, but we can all come together and work together and encourage each other and support each other. Because as you're celebrating diversity, it should bring us together, not further apart. So thanks so much, guys, for listening today. I apologize for me stumbling over my words earlier, but I do appreciate your support and encouragement. And I hope that this has encouraged you as well to continue to create a classroom of belonging. And you'll be ready to celebrate your students' diversity when they come back in a couple months. All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening. I truly appreciate your support. And if I have encouraged you, motivated you to continue to learn, to support your students, even better, to help them strive in your classroom, please leave a review, hit that subscribe button so that others can see they can learn and grow here as well. Thank you.